Everyone. You're very welcome to our webinar today. We're absolutely delighted to have you join us. My name is Angela and I'll be your host for this evening. I'm joined by three of my colleagues who work in manufacturing here at Intel Leixlip. We have Garrett, we have Leah, and we have Benjamin. And I'm also joined by my colleague Jacob, who works alongside me with our talent team, and he will be here to help us on this call this evening as well. So our aim for the next 40 minutes, folks, is to give you a better understanding of our manufacturing technician role here at Intel, what a typical day looks like, why our employees continue to choose Intel every day, and why it's a great time to join our manufacturing team here at Intel. We'll have plenty of time for any questions that you might have, so please don't be shy. You can use the Q&A function here on the webinar platform to ask anything that you'd like to know, and hopefully by the end of the webinar you'll have a much better understanding of what we do here at Intel, what our manufacturing role is all about, and indeed what your career could look like at Intel here. We are actively hiring, so my colleague Jacob will share a link now to two of our manufacturing technician jobs, should you wish to apply. We have one for those of you who are earlier in your career, and we also have one for those of you who are more experienced. So take a look at both of them, and based on the requirements, you'll be able to see quite easily which one is best suited for you. So with that being said, let's get chatting to Garrett, Leah and Benjamin, who are all working on our manufacturing team here at Intel Leixlip. So we're really hoping that this conversation will, be able to give you a peek in the window into Intel, into our manufacturing team and what the manufacturing technician role is all about. So I might start with yourself, Garrett. Garrett, you have been working at Intel for 25 years now.
You're one of, Angela, yeah.
Yes, you're one of the manufacturing technician managers, actually. So you're managing a team of manufacturing technicians. Tell us why you're excited about welcoming new manufacturing technicians into Intel at this time.
Look, it's always great bringing new people into a team, right? They bring new ideas, fresh. They come in with new eyes. We do things a certain way. Someone comes in, has a look, and they go, "Why are we doing it that way?" And you start to question and go, "Okay, maybe this is a different way of doing it." So that in itself, drives change, continuous improvement, and then to bring new people onto the team, it changes the dynamic as well, which is great. And I suppose one of my favorite things to see is when I bring someone new into the fab for the first time and I get to see their face when they walk in and they see robots are flying around their head and these massive big manufacturing tools that they're going to work on, and you can just see the awe, and that's a great feeling. I suppose that's why I'm excited. And then from at the company at the moment, we're ramping into our i3 product line. So that in itself is an exciting time for the company as well. So great time to be joining.
Yeah, I like that fresh perspective. Good time to join. I haven't actually been into the fab myself, but I'm told that it's like a scene from a Star Wars movie is what I'm told.
Spaceship.
Yeah. Benjamin, over to you. I suppose, when we consider, a new opportunity, thinking about a new job, I suppose one of the biggest questions we all have is like, what does a typical day look like and what will I be doing? It's kind of hard to get a good grasp of that from just reading a job description, a job advert. So can you give us an insight into, I suppose, what a typical day looks like working as a manufacturing technician here at Intel?
Okay, so I'm on a flexible role. There is a broad division. It's not a hard division, but there's a broad division in between the technicians. Some technicians are doing a job that is more desk-based. They are monitoring the factory from outside and gathering data and things like that. And there are other technicians whose job is more hands-on, so it's more machine-based. So we have these machines, we call them tools. And we have to do preventive maintenance on them, cleaning, all the stuff. I say they're machines because we might start talking and say tools, and you may think it's an Allen key or something. And we're talking about machines. So the same way that, let's say, a carpenter will use a saw, a tool to build something, we use these tools, these machines, to build the microchips. So it depends on the role that I'm in. If I'm working on the desk, or regardless of what I'm doing, the day starts with pass down. So the factory runs 24/7, 365 days a year, and it's in two shifts rotation. So at the beginning of the shift, we have a pass down of the other shift, and they kind of brief us on what went wrong, what went well, what needs to be actioned, anything to look out for, and also we kind of have a conversation on what what is the schedule for the day. So we do a planning meeting a few times a week, and we set up what are our targets for this week, what do we need to address, and then obviously it's a big factory. There's lots of machines. A lot can go wrong. So when something goes wrong, we have a plan in place. After we get the information from the shift, we go and audit the area ourselves. So we go because things could get missed. You know, it's like I said, it's a complicated machine. The factory itself is super complicated. So things could get missed. So we go in, we check diagnostic logs, we check data, we check everything, and make sure everything's squared away before we actually start the work. Once we have all the information and we have a good view of what is happening, then we meet with our manager or with the more experienced technicians, and we set off to do our tasks. So for a job that is desk-based, a lot of it is on in the computer, checking data, monitoring the systems are working correctly, making decisions on if these machines are good to run production or not, or testing them. If let's say there was some maintenance in the machine, we test it, we gather some data, and then we determine, well, is it good enough to run production? So that's more or less the job of a desk-based technician. Now, when I'm doing the equipment side of things, it's literally going in the machines, operating the robots, cleaning them. Uh, Sometimes something might go wrong, troubleshooting what went wrong, rescuing product, and ensuring that everything is done within some guidelines. So that goes through the
Gotcha.
day, and at the end, we gather our information again to pass it to the next shift. And
Okay,
that's pretty much it.
got you. And do you have a preference between the desk-based work or the more kind of hands-on tool work?
I worked on a desk space for 4 years.
Okay.
So when I arrived to the desk-based job, I loved that everything was new, and then I kind of wanted to get on the side of fixing stuff. So now I don't know, I said that I like both.
Yeah.
I like the flexibility of I jump in here, I jump in there, and I like the machines. Like Ara said, you go into the fab and you sometimes from outside you forget, but when you go
Mm.
in and you see all these machines all doing all these crazy things and everything flying over your head and you're working and things are landing next to you, it's very nice. It's very
I can
exciting.
imagine it's quite beneficial to have the holistic view as well, having worked on both sides. What
Yeah.
about yourself, Leah? Does your day-to-day, what does that look like? Does it look different to Benjamin? Which side are you working on?
I'm an equipment technician. It's kind of similar to Benjamin, but in defect metrology, we run scan, classification, and review tools that basically help bring other tools that might have gone down for maintenance or something like that up to production to clear to say that, yeah, they can run and it's safe. My team pretty much do the same thing. We do a beginning of the day meeting at the end of this shift meeting, provides an oncoming shift with the update of the ongoing work necessary to run our shift most efficiently. Then we go through our schedule the same way as Benjamin does for preventative maintenance tasks and work orders that we might get. And we might get things to run work orders for different areas. We collaborate with the different areas depending on what their needs are and what's most important to keep the factory running. And then we expect some machine recoveries throughout the shift, just normal tool errors that might come up, and then kind of just making sure everything is up all the time, because when defect metro goes down, the entire fab depends on us.
That's right.
After that, it's pretty much the only difference between night shifts and day shifts is we'll be running with the engineers and vendors on the day shift to help them run planned recoveries or maintenance tasks that need to be completed in order to keep the tools ongoing running without any major crashes, I suppose.
Interesting to hear that there's a slight difference in time in terms of when you're on day shift, the type of work you'd be doing versus when you're on night shift. Gareth, you have a whole team of manufacturing technicians. You also have a really interesting career that we're going to get into shortly. But is there anything you'd like to add for our audience, I suppose, as they try to get a grasp for what the day-to-day would look like working as a manufacturing technician here?
Yeah, look, I suppose Leah and Benjamin both kind of hit the nail on the head on the day-to-day stuff, but I suppose it's very module specific. So we've many different modules here. We've wet processes, we've lithography, we've defects, and each area that they almost run independently, yet all work together. It's amazing how it all works, but um, they would all have different priorities on day to day, and the type of preventative maintenance one area does will be very different than the type of preventative maintenance that another area does. But at the end of the day, your day to day is you meet in the morning, you understand what scheduled work is to be done, you work through that. There's going to be tools that have gone down for repairs, we call them. We'd make sure that we schedule the right resources to get them up as safely and quickly as possible, and make sure that the product coming off them is quality product. So yeah, that's pretty much a day to day in here. Night shift, as we said, is a little bit quieter from a people perspective. We don't have engineers around or FSCs around, but the work still continues on. It's a 24/7, 365 days a year operation.
It's when you think of when you hear about the scale, it's pretty impressive. Thanks for giving our audience an insight into, I suppose, what the day to day looks like. I think when any of us are considering a new job, it's good to get a sense of even what the first few weeks and months might look like from a training and an onboarding perspective. Benjamin, to give our audience that sense, could you tell us what the onboarding and training looks like here for manufacturing technicians, and maybe touching on the buddy support system as well?
It is actually very nice. So when I started, there is this 1 week that we call Neo, which is an introduction where you come on site, or you can do some sessions online as well, and you get to know all the other new hires. So when you arrive, you're not thrown. There's thousands of people here. You're not just left alone in there, and you don't know anyone. You get a tour of the whole place, which is actually the campus is very beautiful, and you get to meet your team, and they start to teach you a few of the codes of conduct, a little bit of what we do, because there's no other company like Intel here in Ireland, so everything can be very different. And we play games, we have fun, we go to the canteen and talk and chat and go to the pool table and just build that camaraderie first. Then, as you finish that and you get to know how are the Intel systems like, how do you order your work phone, how you get your computer, how to set it up, how to set up your Outlook, all these little bits and pieces. How does the holiday system work? What are your benefits like? You get all that out of the way in the first week. So when you actually start the job, you're not kind of lost between all
Mm.
these systems.
And that,
And
just to jump in, Benjamin, NEO, so NEO, new employee
or,
onboarding, is that what it
or
stands for?
orientation, I think so. Yeah,
Orientation.
yeah.
Okay.
So the next week, it's good that you touch on that, is when you get to realize that Intel has its own language. So we are big here on
We certainly
acronyms.
do.
So then, and every area, there's so many areas in here, and every area has an individual machine, a unique machine that is not repeated across the other areas. So it has its unique mechanics, its unique physics, its own process. So you need to learn the language of the area. So you start and then you get a training for, let's say, 2 weeks. Get to know, get to understand what people are talking about when they talk about certain things. You get to know how the machine works at a theoretical level. You get to know what a PM is, what a preventative maintenance is, what is the quality that we're searching for, how to gather data, all this stuff. And then as the next, say, 2 weeks progress by, you go into the factory, you go and start seeing other people, and throughout this whole time, you are assigned a buddy from the team. So you have like a person that is going to be with you all the time. He's going to show you. He's going to be in a way responsible for you, and he's gonna show you the ropes so you're not lost, and so that you enter to the team, and the camaraderie is built from the start.
That must be quite reassuring, having that one person that their job for
Yeah,
those few weeks is to answer all the silly questions, because we all
yeah.
have those silly questions at the start.
And I had to say, my body was great. And I see a lot of the people I know, they like people, they want a new hire, and they really like to be around people. They volunteer for it. So it's not like maybe somebody was assigned. No, it's somebody that really wants to welcome you, and it's really very nice. And you always remember your body, and you have this nice rapport
Yeah.
with them. Yeah.
That's great. I'm sure that's reassuring for people listening in, because regardless of what stage, of your career you're at, whether you're early in your career or later in your career, it is daunting starting a new job. I think that's what we have universally in common. And I think it's great to know that there's such a structured support system there while you ramp up. Leah, a little bit later then, when you're settled in, at Intel, questions will still arise, right? No day, even though, you both spoke through, what the day looks like, things arise, issues arise. Who would you typically ask for support these days then? Are you engaging with engineers, with your fellow technicians, your manager? Who's the kind of go-to for help day to day?
Yeah, well, it depends on what the problem is. So obviously something to do with yourself that you need to work out some days off or something, your manager's always reliable to go to, I find. Then if you need support in the ways of a task that you're uncertain about, and trust me, like when I started, I was literally the person that went around with a notebook and asking way too many questions. But I find that at the beginning, if you're willing to learn and you're like really showing initiative and trying your best to, I don't know, show that you're motivated, even
Yeah.
if like I still don't know any of the acronyms that they throw at me. Can you just break that down for me?
Yeah.
I'm nearly 5 years here and I still don't know them all. But I find that if you're willing to, in my experience, to try your best, you'll never be short of support around here. Like my team in general were so good at keeping me on top of everything. And like as I said, like I'm a chatterbox when it comes to wanting to know more information. So they were all very, very nice to me about it. Like,
That's
and
great
this
to
is
hear.
the first time I've been in a role like this as well. So it was very overwhelming for me at the beginning. So I really felt like it was way more welcoming and understanding a place than I actually expected it to be.
And it's so true that, when you're sitting there, I think at all stages of our career, when you're sitting there with a question, you can be guaranteed that someone else also has a question. And sometimes it just takes that brave person or that eager person that wants to learn, just putting a hand up and asking the question. So it's great to hear you've had, a positive experience. Garrett, you started off with Intel as an intern 25 years ago, I think we said, worked your way into
Correct.
management. Can you tell us a little bit about your career path, and I suppose as well, as part of that, what helped you move into management along the way?
Okay, well, I suppose I'll start from the start. I was in a different career before this. Not enjoying it as much as I think I should. The type of for work, you spend a lot of time there. You should enjoy it. And my father sent me a cutout from a newspaper that Intel were looking for trainees for a trainee program. So applied for that. I was successful. I did 6 months in a college-based environment, then 6 months here at Intel, and I came to Intel fresh from college. I was assigned a buddy. I was assigned a training package. I worked through that for the 6 months, and in that time, I just knew, okay, I'm after finding the place I want to work. It just blew me away, absolutely blew me away. I went back to college, finished that up, ended up coming back to Intel. I started off originally back then, the factory wasn't as automated as it is now. So we still had operators. We don't have operators anymore, but back then we did. So I physically loaded the machines, uploaded the recipes, hit a start button basically. And about 6 months into that, then they seen I was motivated and I was learning. And my manager came to me and he said, "Look, if you have opportunity here to move into an equipment technician role, is it something you'd be interested in?" absolutely. Yeah, that's definitely something I'd be interested in. So I became an equipment technician in lithography to begin with. So that's one of the big areas in the tool or in the factory. You might have heard of these EUV tools, and it's the real space age, crazy physics stuff goes on in lithography. So I worked there for, I think, nearly 10 years in a number of roles. I was on scanner tools, as they called them, and then the metrology section. And then an opportunity came up to go to Arizona for an assignment. So me and my family up sticks, Intel, looked after everything, moved all our stuff abroad. And we went over and had a lovely time in Arizona for a year. And then when I came back, I moved into the wet etch area as what's known as a lead technician. So the lead technician kind of coordinates the day's roles and everything else. So I was given that opportunity kind of to progress from a technician to the lead technician role. Did that for 4 years maybe. And I'm very lucky all the way through Intel. I've had great mentors, right? Really good managers all the way through. And my manager at the time, I won't give a shout out to him, but he pulled me aside and he said, look, Ara, I really think you should think about moving into either engineering or management. Really, I think you'd have a flair for management, and we'd like to kind of help you get there by sending you to college if that's something you'd like to do. So I said, absolutely, I'd love to have the opportunity. So I went back to college part-time. I took advantage of what we call the tuition assistance program here. I did 2 years part-time to get a level 7, and then I did another 2 years part-time to get a level 8, and kind of halfway through that, we have a system here called DOTS assignment or GIGS assignment, which allows you to go and work for a year in the job to test it for yourself. Is it something you'd like to do? So I went for years, DOTS into management. And at first I was like, do I really want to do this? Because I love fixing machines. I absolutely adored it. It was just fantastic. But more and more people were saying to me, look, you seem to have a flair for this. You get on with people, keep on going. And then I suppose 6 months into it, I was like, yeah, okay, this is something I'd like to do. And I've been in management now nearly 6 years. So yeah,
Okay.
that's how I ended up here.
Do you miss you said you love fixing the machines. Do you miss that part of it, or do you feel you still get, I suppose, that box ticked by you're helping your team to do that now? Like, tell us about that.
Yeah, I do. Look, there's two different things here, right? So
Yeah.
the satisfaction you get when you walk in, a machine is down, and you have to solve a problem like an amazing puzzle. You get to fix a tool by troubleshooting it, and you're walking out the door. And look, some of these repairs might take 2 days to do, but you walk out the door and that's up and running. You get an amazing sense of work satisfaction from that. I suppose what I'm doing now is very different. I'd like to think I'm helping people. I'm trying to be the mentor that people were to me by helping them progress their career. And you get enormous satisfaction out of that. It's a very different type of satisfaction, but it's yeah, I really enjoy it. I love the role I'm in now. Do I miss fixing tools? Absolutely, I miss fixing tools, but I'm 25 years here. I'm still happy. I still have loads of different opportunities ahead of me here. So yeah, happy.
Amazing, thanks for that. Yeah, it's really interesting to hear, I suppose, the different route that people take, and that might not have, management might not have even. It sounds like it wasn't really even on your mind until that incredible manager, spotted the opportunity in you. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. We briefly touched on it earlier, Leah and Benjamin, when you were talking about your day to day and the fact that the work is slightly different, maybe on night shift versus day shift, or maybe the pace. But can you help our audience, maybe Benjamin yourself, just to give our audience a sense of what are the shift patterns, I suppose, at Intel, and what does that look like? And I know one of the things whenever I talk to any of your team, I'm always very envious of of the time off. From what I understand, I think it translates to something like for every 14 days you work, you essentially have 7 off, which I'm always fascinated with how people use their time off. So yeah, tell us a bit about the shift patterns and maybe as well how you use your time off.
So like I said, the factory runs 24/7. So there's 2 shifts per day, and they're 12-hour shifts. So we have pass down at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And then the best part is we work 3 days, then have 4 days off. Then we work
Nice.
4 days, and then we have 3 days off. And we have our calendar set for, let's say, 2 years in advance. So then you get to know, like, that this is amazing for me, because then I get to know, okay, when am I going to visit my family? And I'm able to plan ahead. I really like that. And the fact that we have the 4 days off, those 4 days off, if you plan them well, you can do whatever. You can travel around Europe, you can road trip, you can have projects in the house, you can do so many things. And
Amazing.
it's very nice because the way we work is, for example, now we did the changeover. So one half of the year we work, let's say, Sunday to Tuesday or Sunday to Wednesday. And the other half of the year we work, let's say, Wednesday to Saturday or Thursday to Saturday, or sorry, or Wednesday to Friday. So that way we always or almost always have a Saturday off or a Sunday off. So you still get a bit of the weekend, even though you have
Yeah.
the shift pattern. And that changeover happens twice a year. So you get to be in one side. Like, for example, the first time of the year, I was always working on Fridays, for example. Now I'm always
Got
working
you.
on Sundays. So yeah.
It's quite structured then. I didn't realize 2 years in advance.
Yes.
That's great. Okay, so there's a lot of room for planning, and the bit I'm envious of, a lot of room for time off for, I suppose, your activities, or in your case, visiting family. I wanted to switch to, I suppose, extracurricular activity. Obviously our day jobs, are a big focus, but also I think one of the unique things maybe about Intel is the sense of culture that we have here. I've experienced it myself in terms of what we were speaking about earlier. There's always someone to help. There's always someone that can, if they don't know the answer, they can guide you to someone else. But there's also always something going on at Intel. And I think, the scope for how much you want to get involved in the wider Intel community, I suppose, is completely up to each individual. Gareth, you are involved in some, I suppose, extracurricular activity that, from speaking with you previously, is quite meaningful for you. Will you tell us a little bit about that? And I suppose, yeah, the opportunity to get involved with people outside of those that you maybe work with every day.
Yeah. So one of the teams we have here, which is a voluntary team, is the emergency response team. So that's an on-site response team. We deal with things from medical emergencies to any kind of hazardous stuff that would happen over time that needs to be dealt with. The emergency response team are the team that would look after that. So I do that. I've had lots of training over the years. It's almost like an on-site fire brigade, for lack of a better word. We do everything from paramedic training to firefighting, to the whole lot. So yeah, I do that. That's one of the things I do that I really enjoy. And it's a skill that you can use outside of work, right? So that's great. And then I suppose there's lots of other opportunities through the clubs that we have here. So we have everything from badminton clubs, cricket clubs, board game clubs, golfing societies. We have the sports and social here. So we have opportunities. I think we have the family day coming up now in Tato Park, or Emerald Park as it's known now. So yeah, that's kind of, there's lots of opportunity for socializing and meeting people outside your team.
And I think I remember chatting to someone before, and they set up, I think what we call a ERG, so an employee resource group. There wasn't one, there wasn't a club in the area that they were passionate about. So they actually set up their own, which is pretty cool, I think. I just have one more question for the three of you. But before I ask that, I just want to give a reminder to our audience joining us today. Now is the perfect time to have a think about what questions you might have. You can use the Q&A function there on the platform, and yeah, we'll get to them straight after this question. And just a reminder to Jacob as well, who is joining us, you might pop in a link to the two jobs that we discussed earlier. Like I said, there's one that's kind of more early career, So those of you who have kind of roughly 0 to 4 years experience. And then there's a more experienced manufacturing technician job for those of you with 4+ years experience. So my last question, I think when considering joining a company, it's really beneficial for people to, I suppose, get a feel for why the existing employees continue to choose Intel every day. So I would genuinely love to know why each of you choose to continue working here. Maybe Benjamin, yourself?
I like the team I'm with. I have to say, like
People.
the people that I work with, they're great, and they are great. The people that I work with shoulder to shoulder are great, and they have been through. Like I said, I worked in a desk-based job, so you work with in the desk. You work with some people in the desk, and now work in the factory, same thing. And there's a lot of support. So I like here that the, this is semiconductor, so it keeps changing, and there is this openness to built into the company, I think. So I never feel shy of asking any question or not knowing anything. We always say every day is a school day.
Yeah.
Everyone, even if there's somebody here 10 years, 15 years, they encounter something new, and I like that. And kind of a project guy. I like to work on my own side projects and do my own little things and try to improve systems here and there. So I like that a lot. That I'm not like boxed in and have to do this and only that.
There's
There's a
room for
certain
innovation.
flexibility. Yeah. I like that a lot. And
Thanks for
yeah,
that.
it's exciting. Like the factory is very exciting. The grounds are beautiful. There's lots of nice conveniences here. The canteen, there's gym, there's lots of very nice things. The shift pattern I like a lot because we start at 7, we don't start at 8. So I get to avoid a lot of the traffic as well. It's very,
Always a
very nice.
bonus.
Yes,
Always a bonus.
this is a big brain move. Whoever set this time, it was very good. Yeah.
Thanks for that, Benjamin. What about yourself, Leah? What I suppose what continues to drive you to want to work here?
Well, I never expected to be in this kind of job. Like most of my work experience revolved around working with the public in shop experiences. And then I was talked into doing a level 6 in industrial electrical systems by a family member and had short-term experience in clean room environments. And then when I got referred to this job, I never thought I'd actually get offered the job. And when I did, I was really overwhelmed, thinking, "Oh, I'm way in over my head." I'll walk in and they'll be like, "What is she doing here?"
The imposter syndrome.
Oh, I swear. And like I suppose the fact that I felt so terrified at the beginning and really would let myself get overwhelmed. The fact that now I didn't realize how confident I would become in the role that I'm in now. Like I feel like I'm definitely like I'm not a person that would usually say, "Oh, I'm amazing," but I feel like I'm definitely one of the people in my team who you can rely on to, as Gareth says, get the job done before the end of the shift and feel really accomplished by the time that the tool comes up. And I feel like I was lucky enough to get a good team as well, same as Benjamin, that really wanted to teach and go into detail about what it is I needed to know. And then last 2 years, I was given the opportunity to do a level 7 as well in engineering reliability management with TUD. And that was really a good confidence boost as well, to know that my manager wanted to give me those kind of opportunities. And no matter what, everybody was really accommodating. So then I could complete it. So I suppose I just have never been given the kind of opportunities in a job as I have here. And it just feels like everything flows right in this job.
Yeah.
And I get recognized for the work that I do. So I don't just float between the lines. I don't feel like I'm doing all the work and nobody's seeing me. Like it's real gratifying kind of feeling in this job.
Appreciation goes, I
Yeah.
think for us all, appreciation goes a long way, and we want to do more. For yourself, thank you, Leah. For yourself, then, Gareth.
Yeah, I look, Benjamin and Leah hit it on the head for me. Number one, the people, right? I work with extremely clever people and extremely interesting people and extremely nice, helpful people. Everyone goes out of their way to make sure we get to the end of the day and achieve whatever goal we've set for ourselves that day. And now I get to help people as well. So, you know, it's lovely listening to Leah there and her story and how she progressed through her career. And yeah, that's what it is. It's just people. People make me come here, and people is why I'm here 25 years and hopefully many more years to come, because the other side of it then is opportunity. It's given me opportunity. If you want it, it's there for you. You know, all of those different avenues are there. You just need to say, yeah, I want to try this, and away you go.
Mm. Yeah, and it's funny, I'm working in a completely different area, and I can really relate to the, you know, the topics that all of you have mentioned there in terms of why you know, continue to choose Intel. Thank you for being so generous, Gareth, Leah, and Benjamin, with your, you know, your sharing your experience with us. I really hope that it's given the audience, I suppose, a feel for what it's like to work at Intel, and also what the manufacturing technician job is like day to day. I want to move to the Q&A now. I want to make sure that we answer any questions that our audience might have. So just having a little look here. I can see that a couple of people are asking about the recruitment process. Yep, so I'll start with that. So in terms of the recruitment process, there's an application, first an online application. Then there are 2 rounds of interviews. So a first round behavioral interview, that will be about 45 minutes to 1 hour, and that takes place virtually over MS Teams. Then there's a second round technical interview, if you're progressed to that stage, and that's again 45 to 1 hour, 45 minutes to 1 hour, and that will be face-to-face at Intel. So nice that you get to come in and, you know, get a feel for the place. And when you apply, I do want to reassure you, when you apply, if you're potentially a fit for the role, everything will be explained to you by a recruiter. So you'll be well prepared for the interviews. You'll know what's involved. And what I would say is, I know Jacob has sent in to the webinar here the 2 links, so have a look on there, you know, have a look through the job. Hopefully this has kind of brought the job description to life for you, and yeah, if you feel like it's the right fit for you, we would love to hear from you. So I hope that answers that. Let me see what else we have here. Okay, somebody is asking if they're successful, when would the job start? So we're actively hiring, so we're ready to welcome you as soon as possible. Again, if you're successful through the recruitment process, one of our recruiters will work with yourself and the hiring manager to figure out a start date that works for both of you. So yeah, we're ready to welcome you. Let me see what else. A little reminder of anyone, there's still time. If you have a question, you can pop it in. Oh, great question here. Somebody is asking, what type of qualifications or experience are we looking for? Great question. So we're hiring across a range of backgrounds. So if you have a trades apprenticeship, that would definitely be of interest. If you have an NFQ level 6 or 7 qualification in a technical or an engineering discipline, that could be a great fit as well. We'd definitely be interested in hearing from you. With regard to the disciplines, then, I mean, there's a lot where we are really hiring across a good few backgrounds. So what I would say is check the link that Jacob has sent, and you'll see the full list. But just to give people a flavour of the NFQ level 6 and 7 disciplines that we hire from. So we have mechanical, electrical, electronics, we have mechatronics, instrumentation, automation, chemical, process engineering, motor mechanics, we've electrician, plumbing, toolmaker, fitters, heavy vehicle mechanics, aircraft mechanics, physics, chemistry, maths, advanced manufacturing, maintenance. There's probably a few I have missed there, but please do have a little look at the link, and they're all listed out. And then in terms of experience, so to give you a flavour there, so experience, I do want to flag, you don't need experience. So like I said, we have two different types of both manufacturing technician roles, but we're hiring those very early in career who have no experience, who just have the qualifications listed or the apprenticeship. And we're also hiring those with experience. So in terms of the experience, you know, experience in technical, semiconductor, pharmaceutical, biomedical, or medical device manufacturing as well. Any kind of hands-on preventative and corrective, I suppose, corrective maintenance experience in, you know, a regulated environment. And then your, you know, experience with electronics, equipment troubleshooting, installation, repair, that kind of thing. So yeah, hopefully, great question. Hopefully that gives you an idea of, I suppose, that you can see there's quite a range of backgrounds there. And hopefully those of you listening in are recognizing yourself, you know, somewhere along there. If in doubt, I would say apply. You know, our recruiters will go through your application. And if they have any kind of, you know, doubt at all, they'll give you a shout. What's good question here, actually, Garrett, I might pose this to yourself. What does success look like in this role during the first 6 months?
Okay, I suppose Leah hit it on the head there earlier on. It is showing the desire to progress. You know, you are assigned a training package when you start here. As a manager, I like to meet with my new hires every day for the first couple of weeks, make sure they're settling in. And then that training package is kind of what the goal you're working towards, right? It's one of the steps along the way. We have different levels of training. It starts off level 1, level 2, level 3. I suppose in the first 6 months, your manager will outline for your module what they hope you to achieve within that 6 months. And that's basically how you're going to be measured, right?
Yeah, gotcha. That gives a good insight. Yeah, thanks for that, Gareth. I think we've answered, there's a lot of questions, but they're all kind of along that theme. So I hope we've covered everything more about the recruitment process. We've covered that. Yeah, I can see we're kind of at time as well. But what I did want to, before we close, any final thoughts, Gareth? You know, you are going to be one of the hiring managers. I know you're really excited to welcome people in. Any final thoughts for people today joining and considering applying?
Apply was my first thing to say to you. Okay. And then if you are, I couldn't understand why you'd be on the fence. You're getting a chance to work in a company that what we make here has a big difference to the world in general, right? And you can come here at the time where we're rampant I3 here in Ireland, and it's just a great opportunity. Please send in your CV. Let us have a look. Come and have an interview. We can get you in here, and let's get you on the team.
Sounds good. Okay, well, thank you so much, Benjamin, Leah and Gareth, for, again, being so generous, sharing your experience at Intel here. And thank you so much for our audience as well. I'm conscious it's late in the evening. You probably had a long day's work or a long day studying. So yeah, we really appreciate you joining. We hope that you're leaving with a good understanding of what it's like to work at Intel, what life at Intel looks like, and, you know, a more of an understanding of the job, bringing that job description to life. And yeah, we really hope that we'll be viewing some of your applications soon, and hopefully meeting some of you potentially on the corridors here at Intel Leixlip very soon. So with that, I'll say good evening, and thank you again. Take care, folks.
Thank you.